Welcome back to Otaku Daikun. Dai here, and this video is going to be the first of its kind, part of what I call an overview analysis. Consider it a brief form of my in-depth analyses, where I try to make a generally confusing anime more palatable by describing its lore from an overview perspective, including supplemental information not even presented in the work itself. Obviously, this robs a show of its inherent mystery and drama, so please only watch it if you've already seen the original, or simply don't mind huge spoilers. This week's subject, the original Neon Genesis Evangelion, known infamously for introducing us to the Gainax mindfuck. Its mecha and action-oriented coding, which initially draws viewers in, serves only to hide much larger psychological and philosophical themes. By viewing this overview analysis, you should be able to rewatch this anime from a much clearer context. People could write books on all the meaning and significance packed into each moment, but that is not what I'll be focusing on for this video. Instead, I'll be relaying the objective world building of Evangelion. The facts, not the themes. The first thing to note here is that the world of Evangelion has a rather unique origin story. It all started with an alien species known as the First Ancestral Race, which possessed advanced physiology and technology. They kinda sorta have a fetish for creating life on other planets, and they do so by releasing beings called Seeds of Life about the universe. The Seeds of Life are transported within objects called moons, each accompanied by a Spear of Longinus. A seed will land on a given planet and give birth to a race of beings, either benefiting from great biology or great intelligence. If they possessed both, they'd be on par with the ancestral race, and they took precautions to prevent that from happening. This meant that life was spread across the universe, some races being akin to humans with their intellect, while others more closely resembled the angels, as seen in the anime. Earth is special, in that two different seeds wound up landing on the same planet. These were two beings, Adam and Lilith, respectively. Adam's white moon was the first to land on Earth. It was to populate the planet with angels, but then Lilith arrived. By the ancestral race's design, two seeds are not to coexist on the same planet, so the spears were to enforce this rule. However, when Lilith, inside the Black Moon, collided with Earth, Lilith's spear was destroyed. As a result, Adam's spear enforced the rule by sealing its own seed, allowing Lilith to instead populate the Earth with humans by releasing its blood, LCL fluid. Lilith's arrival became known as the First Impact. That was 4 billion years ago. A human excavation team eventually discovered the sealed Adam at the South Pole. They attempted to experiment on the being and accidentally awakened it, causing a cataclysmic explosion. This was, of course, the Second Impact. After this self-destruction, Adam reverted to an embryonic state, and its soul left its body. At this point in human history, a secret religious organization named Seele was working in the shadows to influence human civilization worldwide. Their organization obtained the Dead Sea Scrolls, which were apparently a manual of sorts written by the ancestral race, detailing the function of their moons and seeds of life. In the aftermath of the Second Impact, they got their hands on both Adam's soul and its embryonic corpse. The soul was placed inside a human vessel, Kaworu Nagisa, and the embryo was used in the creation of the Eva Units. Later on, Gendo Ikari winds up getting Kaji to smuggle Adam's body into Nerv, and he merges the embryo with his own hand. We'll get to why a bit later. Oh, and if you don't remember Gendo actually fusing the embryo into his hand, that's because it was only shown in the director's cut. Seele was also behind the discovery of Lilith and the Black Moon, which had opened up a hole beneath Hakone, Japan, forming the Geofront. When Seele formed Nerv, they kept Lilith crucified in Nerv's deepest sector. By this point, Seele had a clear goal to their actions: to cause human instrumentality. They would use Adam and Lilith to initiate a third impact in such a way that all humans would be united into a single entity. To that end, they allowed Lilith to grow to a point before impaling it with Adam's spear that they'd recovered from the Second Impact. Essentially, they prepared and preserved Lilith until they needed it. Accomplishing instrumentality, according to their plan, involved creating Evangelions. Essentially, the Evas are clones of Adam, giant humanoid beings, crammed into metal plating and merged with mechanical parts to be controlled. The Eva are each controlled by children who take command within an entry plug, inserted into the Eva's neck. Even worse, an Eva and its pilot must be in sync, meaning that the pilot will feel everything the Eva feels. While in deep sync with an Eva, the pilot will actually sustain the same injuries as their Eva. A secondary function of the Eva is to protect Nerv from angel attacks that began occurring after the second impact disturbed Adam. These angels, more accurately Adam's children, seek to cause the third impact as a form of resurrecting Adam. An important thing to note here is that all living beings have what is called an AT field, an absolute terror field, that separates them from other living beings. Essentially, an AT field allows for a living creature to maintain its individual form. In battle, the Eva and angels use AT fields like protective barriers. The actual third impact that occurs in the anime uses Shinji's Eva as a catalyst to form a massive anti-AT field, causing all of humanity to form together in a sea of LCL fluid. Seele apparently wanted to use this as part of their Instrumentality Project, to ascend to a higher form of existence, on par with God. Gendo Ikari, however, wanted to use instrumentality as a means of uniting with his wife Yui, who had died in an experiment with Eva 1. To initiate the impact, he placed his atom-infested hand inside Rei Ayanami, who was created as a vessel for Lilith's soul. So Seele, Gendo, and Adam's children all wished to cause the third impact in different ways for different reasons. In the end, however, it was Rei herself who ushered forth the ritual. In a nutshell, Neon Genesis Evangelion is really about aliens that crash into Earth and populate it with life. Among the humans, one group wishes to force all living things to become one, and the ultimate choice for humanity's future falls on the shoulders of a mentally unstable 13-year-old boy. Wowie wow. Let's look at some specific points before wrapping up. First off, why is everyone so damn obsessed with instrumentality? It has a number of different implications. It means evolving humanity, as a collective entity would be seen as superior and more efficient than a divided populace. Gendo honestly couldn't care less about that. Instrumentality would allow him to become one with all living things, and somehow be with his wife. For Shinji, who has the ultimate say in the end, it's a matter of weighing happiness and suffering. If everyone were to unite into a single form, people would no longer be able to cause each other to suffer, but this would come at the loss of social interaction and the ability to be loved and accepted. It's also important to note that nearly every character in this series is fucked up in some way. Gendo, Shinji's dad, is a selfish asshole, using and provoking his son to meet his own ends. This leaves Shinji himself horribly insecure and lonely, always searching for acceptance from others around him. Misato uses booze and sex to cope with her loneliness due to the loss of her father during the second impact. Rei is just one of many clones made in the image of Shinji's mother Yui. As such, she's caught in an existential crisis to find out her identity and purpose. And Asuka tries to stay strong and independent because her own mother committed suicide. Evangelion has two different endings. The original was shown during the last 2 episodes of the anime, with a lower budget and experimental techniques. They're actually pretty simple to understand, as it's all Shinji's analysis and mental confrontation with those closest to him. This version's mostly confusing because it doesn't actually show how the third impact came about. After all sorts of drama, Hideaki Anno decided to retell those 2 episodes with a feature-length film called The End of Evangelion. It's a much more literal depiction of events, covering Seele's rise to power, to the birth and death of the Instrumentality Project. After the chaos settles, we find Shinji and Asuka waking up together on the beach, and Shinji starts to strangle Asuka, but gives up. While the anime series seems to lead to a happy ending, the film appears much more ambiguous. Shinji stopped instrumentality, but only partway through. So where the hell is everyone? What impact did this choice actually have? It's theorized that people might rematerialize from the sea of LCL fluid, but we'll never truly know what happens after this point. Anno wasn't going to let us go too easily. After all, the film was made primarily in response to the huge backlash he got after releasing the original ending on such a limited budget. Perhaps this is his way of realizing the narrative he wanted to tell, while still maintaining the cerebral mystery of it all. To be honest, I'm fine with it. The ending may be a bit of an acquired taste, but that's fine. It's possible that, once complete, I'll do another overview for the Evangelion rebuild, but that still seems far off. Hopefully that gives you a clearer understanding of this anime, and perhaps you can see it in a whole new light. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to Otaku Daikun for more anime lists, recommendations, reviews, and Let's Plays. Also be sure to check out Otaku Daikun on Facebook, where I share interesting articles and tidbits that I find about JRPGs and new anime releases. Until the next video, celebrate your fandom.